In this session, I will be taking you on where to place your JavaScript file. There are two aspects on where to place your JavaScript file. Number one, we have the internal scripting and we have the external scripting. Now, working with the internal scripting, we are placing our scripting in the same document as the HTML we have here. So everything that we are doing with our JavaScript will be placed on the same HTML file that we are working on. For example, let's come down it to this particular HTML file, to the body aspect of this. Then the first thing we have here, let's create a script tag. Let's create a script tag. Now, working with the internal scripting, the first thing you have to do is to go to the particular HTML file you're working on and open a script tag. So what I have here is the opening scripting and the closing scripting. Now, very importantly, you can place this particular scripting on anywhere on this particular page, on this particular file. So we can have it inside the head element, we can have it in the body just as we have it here, or we can have it below the body. So it determines where you actually want to place it, but preferable, I will want you to place it below this particular scripting, this particular HTML file. Before the end of this session, I will tell you the reason why you need to place it below here. Now let's do something right here so we can have a better understanding of what the scripting is all about. First of all, let's create a variable. So I have let heading equals to document dot query selector. Then what are we selecting? Let's move down to the top here of the file. Okay, let's select the H1. Select the H1 element. So here we have H1. Okay, then we have dot text content equals to, let's just put something nice, be kind in your work. Oh, let's just use be kind with your words. I think that would be better. With your words, put a semicolon at the end. Oh, I had a mistake on that. Alright, so what we have here is we have a declared variable, then equals to document.querySelector. Now what do we use this query selector? Is a method to select an element, a class, or an ID. Okay, and another thing you need to know about the query selector, you can only select one element. It can select more than one element. So we use a property dot text content. So this is a property text content. Okay, what do we use this property to do? To change a particular content. Now what we have here in our H1, we have hello world in the H1, but what I'm using our scripting to do right now is to change the hello world to be kind with your words. So let's come down to our browser and let's reload. Okay, so we see the changes. So we have what we have here has been updated to be kind with your words. Okay, let me increase this so we can see it better. Okay, so we have be kind with your words. So this is what we can actually achieve using the JavaScript programming language. Okay, so we use this, we actually use it to change that particular aspect of our content. Okay, so basically I just showed you the internal scripting and doing an illustration on changing the elements that we have there. Now I said something concerning placing this particular scripting below this HTML file. Now the reason why we have this done here is because if we have this done on inside the head, you know, when loading this particular HTML file, it loads from the top, it loads down it to the bottom of the file. Then loading this particular scripting, the moment it loads this, it ends here, it won't be able to find where this is directed to. Now this is directed to H1, okay, and we have this already placed at the top of the file. Now what this is actually doing, the browser will load every content we have here from the top to the bottom. Now loading this particular content is going to stop here, right here at this closing script. It's not going to load this to H1. Now let's see if this will change. I know this will not, it won't change at all, you see. So I tried, we have the same code placed at the top of the file. What we are seeing here is that it didn't change. Okay, that's just the same thing I explained to you. Loading this particular HTML file from the top, when it gets here at the head, it won't be able to access the contents that we have here. But once you take it below, what the browser will do is to load the whole content first of all, then come down to the script and load the script. Then it does the changes that we have there. Okay, so that's the reason why the best practice to actually do such in JavaScript is to place it below the HTML file. Okay, now let's move on to the external scripting. Now the scripts, the external JavaScripts can be placed in an external file. The script can be placed, is just you are creating an external file for JavaScript, then you link that file to your HTML file that we have here. Now for example, let's do something pretty quick. So we have HTML file here, we have images, and we have style sheet. Now let's create a folder for script. Oh, sorry about that, I have to close. So you have to be very careful where you're opening this. So now everything is closed. Okay, all the folders are closed. Now we are good to open a new one. Okay, so let's we're still closing, I don't want this. Okay, all right, so we have scripts, the scripts. All right, so we have script. Now in the script, now we can open a new file called main.js. Now very importantly, you have the name of the file with the extension .js, just like we have in our HTML. The extension for saving the HTML file is .html. Now for the CSS, the extension for opening an external CSS file is .css. Now for JavaScript, the extension for saving an external JavaScript file will be .js. Now click enter. Now where we are now, we are now currently are the external JavaScript file. So this is the file that everything concerning your JavaScript syntax and everything will be placed. Now for this to operate, you're going to link this particular JavaScript file to the HTML file that we have here. Okay, now let me tell you something before we start on the purpose of this particular creating an external file in JavaScript. Okay, the very important purpose of this is when we create an external scripting. Okay, so by venture you have a particular code. Okay, you have a particular code that you want to spread across more than one web pages or more than one HTML file. So it's better you create a particular scripting for it, and in that scripting you have that code in that particular JavaScript file. Then you link it to all the HTML files that you want that particular program to run on. Okay, so that's the reason why we have an external JavaScript file. It makes your work easy. Okay, so it will ease you the process of having to copy and paste your code on different HTML files that you want to implement that particular feature on. So what you just do, create an external file, put all the programs and the code you have there on that external file, then link it to all the HTML documents that you have. All right, now let's do something pretty quick. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to cut this out. Okay, Control X to cut, then come down it to our external JavaScript file and paste it there. Now what we are going to do here, okay, then we are going to do something really nice. Then inside we're going to create an attribute for source, src. Okay, now inside here we are going to the file location, we're going to put in the file name. So we have /script. Okay, so we have main.js. all right, so with this you have your external JavaScript file already linked to this particular JS and HTML file. Okay, so if you go check the browser, it still gives us the same thing. Okay, it still gives us the same thing. All right, so we have be kind with your words. Okay, that's just the way we want it. So that's the reason why we use this particular external file. If in peradventure I create another HTML document, I don't need to write this code anymore. What I just need to do is to go to that particular HTML file and link it and do this particular linking. Then what I have here immediately reflects on that HTML file. Okay, so that's all you need to know about placing your JavaScript code separately on a different JavaScript file and linking it on this particular HTML document. So lastly, before we go, let me just tell you like two advantages of the external JavaScript files using the external JavaScript. The advantage, I told you one advantage. Okay, so you can create a file and link it to different HTML documents. All right, and that's more than one HTML document. Okay, so also it separates the HTML, and the JavaScript code. Okay, so it separates the HTML and the JavaScript code. All right, so it is not that we are trying to we're building a particular application, and in this HTML document we have the JavaScript and we have the HTML. It will all look cumbersome, and it won't be easy for you to read the file. So that goes to number two. It makes the HTML and JavaScript easier to read and maintain. Okay, So having the external JavaScript file makes it easy for you to read and maintain the HTML and JavaScript that you have written on those files. All right. Okay. And lastly, is speed up. We have the JavaScript files can speed up the page load. Okay, using the external is speeding up the page loading process. All right. So that will be all for this session. So we did the internal. I showed you how we use the internal scripting, and I also showed you how we use the external scripting. Okay, I believe at this junction, I believe you understand what we just did, and in our next session we are going to move much faster. Thank you, and we'll be right back.